What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Whitespace. So for the next 2 to 3 videos, it's going to be purely some tools that will make the code easier to interpret. So instead of making 3 separate videos for this, I think I'm just going to combine it into this one video and just keep going until we get to the end of the lesson, so that essentially you have all of them in the same video. But without further ado, the rest of this lesson will focus on some tools developers use to make code easier to interpret. Now, as the code in an HTML file grows, it becomes increasingly difficult to keep track of how many elements are related. So programmers use 2 tools to visualize the relationship between elements. You can either use whitespace and indentation. So both tools take advantage of the fact that the position of elements in a browser is independent of the amount of whitespace or indentation in the index.html file. For example, if you wanted to increase the space between 2 paragraphs on your web page, you would not be able to accomplish this by adding a space between the paragraph elements in the index.html file. The browser ignores whitespace in HTML files when it renders a web page, so it can be used as a tool to make code easier to read and follow. Now, what makes the example below difficult to read? Let me just make this as a whole, but it's hard to read, right? But you have to read the entire line to know what elements are present. Compared to this, you already know there's a body, and then the paragraphs are inside of the body, and there's 2 paragraphs, or 2 paragraph elements, right? Now, this example is easier to read because each element is on its own line, while the first example required you to read an entire line of code to identify the elements. This example makes it easy to identify body, tag, and 2 paragraphs. A browser renders both the same way, so both of them will print out the same thing, but this is much easier to read. Now use whitespace to make the code more readable by putting each element on its own line. So let's put its own element on line like this, and then indent it as well. Actually, let me indent this as well. Like, that looks so much nicer, right? On to the next one. Probably indentation, yep. Alright, so the second tool web developers use to make the structure of code easier to read is indentation. Now, the spaces are inserted using the space and tab bars on your keyboard. The World Web Consortium, or W3C, is responsible for maintaining the style standards of HTML. At the time of writing, the W3C recommends 2 spaces of indentation when writing HTML code. Although your code will work without exactly 2 spaces, the standard is followed by majority of professional web developers. Indentation is used to easily visualize which elements are nested within the other elements. So you can see that this is probably the most nested one, and this is probably the least nested, right? So in the example above, paragraph 1 and div tag are nested inside of the body tag. And the paragraph 2 element is nested inside of the div tag. So it is indented an additional 2 spaces. Indent the code in index.html to match the W3C standard. So we'll go ahead and do this, or, oops, my bad. And then let's go ahead and indent this. Huh? Let me reset this. I'm sorry, guys. I kind of messed up on this. I don't know why. So we'll just put a tab. And then again here, putting a tab just deletes it, so I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why it deletes the thing. Really not sure. Okay. Oh, okay, I see. So essentially, there you go. And since this is just one element, there you go, like that. That should work. Yep. There you go. So the reason why it was deleted because I was highlighting the whole thing and pressing tab. But if you just press tab, it will do it. But if you highlight the whole thing and then press tab, it'll make it go away basically. But yeah. And then comments. So HTML files also allow you to add comments to your code. Now comments are a little weird in HTML, I'm not gonna lie. So comments begin with the explanation points, dash dash, and then with dash dash angle bracket. So any characters in between will be ignored by your browser, including comments. Is helpful for many reasons. They help you and others understand your code if you decide to come back and review it at a much later date. They allow you to experiment with new code without having to delete the old code. And then in the example above, the comment is used to denote that the following text makes up a particular section of the page. In the example above, a valid HTML element, a paragraph element, has been commented out. This practice is useful when there is code you want to experiment with or return to in the future. So add a comment. So this is how you do it. You do it like this, right? You do like favorite quotes, right? And then you dash dash like that. But let me also show you guys another trick. So if you just highlight the whole thing, press Control or Command and then slash. Oh, doesn't do it? That's odd. Or it doesn't do it for here. That is odd actually. I thought it would do it. Yeah, it doesn't do it. That's weird. But yeah, on your IDE it should work. But let me run it. Perfect. And I am going to end the video here. In the next video, we'll be learning about the HTML tags, and we'll basically be wrapping up the entire lesson. So yeah, until then, I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a great